everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm KRISTIN, and this is episode 220. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for tuning in. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, and making all the things in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from. And I live with my husband and our cat, Bella, who may make an appearance later. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. But yeah, I'm so happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about all those awesome things with me. And yes, if you have not already, feel free to join the YarnGasm Ravelry group. We have a lot of conversation happening in there, and it's the place to be if you want to partake in all of our knit-alongs and general chatter and enter to win giveaway prizes and just a really inspirational thread of projects and banter and the like. So anyway, I can't really describe it. I can't put it into one word because it's just, there's so much going on in there. So yes, please do join that. If you would like to follow me on the interwebs, I am at Voolenvine on Instagram, where I am most active. I am Voolenvine on Ravelry, if you would like to follow me there as well. But I am most active on Instagram. And if you would like to contact me, email is the best way to get in touch, as I don't have a lot of time to check my Ravelry mail as often as I would like to. But you can email me at voolenvineyarns@gmail.com. And last but not least, you can find show notes for this episode and all episodes over at yarngasmpodcast.com. And as always, I will post all this information in the down bar so you can easily find it. But as for announcements, this weekend is Vogue Knitting Live, and I will be attending on Saturday, January 14th. And yes, if you are going to be there, definitely stop by and say hello. If you see me wandering around, and there will be no podcaster meetup, unfortunately, but if you do see me wandering around, please feel free to come up, say hello. I would love to meet you in person. I will be with Lara from Jinx Yarns and the Dyer's Notebook podcast. She's actually coming in. She's coming in tomorrow, you guys. I'm super excited. But yeah, this week is turning out to be a week of meetups, just because everyone is coming in town for Vogue Knitting Live, and you know, just we're all making plans just to get together and see each other before the craziness ensues. And speaking of meetups, yesterday, Katie from Inside Number 23, if you're not familiar, she has the wonderful podcast Inside Number 23, and she's in town for the whole week. She's in New York, excuse me, with her husband Emrys. And yesterday she just pinged me and said, hey, we're gonna go to Woolen, which is a yarn shop in Brooklyn, and yeah, if you want to meet up, we'll be there. I'm like, yes, that would be amazing. So yesterday I met up with her and Emrys, and we hung out at Woolen for a little bit, which I will talk more about, I guess, more about like Woolen in stash acquisitions, because I may have been a little bit naughty. But we hung out at Woolen for a little bit, and then we popped on over to a pub right next door and just hung out, had a drink. Yeah, I have to say that we had the best time, and it was just so wonderful getting to meet her in person for the first time. I have to admit, like, I was super excited when I found out, like, hey, we're gonna meet finally. So yeah, we just had the best conversations last night, and Dennis actually met up with us after he got off of work, and we just hung out. I don't know, I want to say like for 2 hours. We just sat and chat, and yeah, I did not want the night to end. But Katie, I just want to say that you are even more lovely and wonderful and funny and charming in person as you are on your podcast, if not more so. And it was funny because Emrys was sitting there, he goes, is this weird for you guys? Because Katie and I have only known each other through our podcasts and chatting online, and we're just like sitting there, and it just felt like, it really felt like we've been friends for quite some time, for a while now, and it really, to be honest, it really did not feel awkward at all. So I'm just so excited to call her my friend now. And yes, Katie, you have a friend in New York, always and forever. So, and Bella completely agrees, right, babes? So anyway, yes, I have a show for you guys. But before I get into anything, I just want to announce the knit-alongs that are currently underway. And if you are not interested in the knit-alongs, I'm going to pop a time code in the down bar for you to skip ahead to what I've been making this week. So, but first, we have 3 knit-alongs that are currently going on right now. The first is the 2017 Box O Socks Cal, and you can use hashtag Box O Socks Cal 2017 on Instagram if you want to share your progress and your photos. I actually, if you go into that thread, I added some more details and info and guidelines as far as, because I have been receiving a lot of questions about certain aspects and details about the knit along. So I expanded on those in case you have a couple more queries or questions about, you know, how to participate in the knit along. But yes, and I just want to say that that thread is growing day by day. It's exploding, which boggles my, it doesn't boggle my mind, but like it blows my mind how fast that thread is growing. And I apologize. I know many of you have been asking questions and, you know, wanting to know more about the knit along, and I will be honest, it's really hard for me to keep up with everybody's comments and questions in there. So if you do have a question about the knit along, please just post your question in the thread, but be sure to ear burn me on Ravelry. Otherwise, I may never see your question, because again, I feel like there are 30 new posts in there every day, which is nuts, but so awesome. And yes, I have been seeing everyone's progress, and it is wonderful. So definitely check it out if you're interested in knitting socks this year. All the details are posted in that very first post when you click on the link to that thread, and I listed all the guidelines. And yes, crochet socks are fine to knit. Double dipping's okay, but yes, crochet socks are fine as long as you use fingering or sock weight yarn. So FYI. But yes, that the 2017 box of socks Cal is going from, it started January 1st, 2017 and is going to end January 1st, 2018. So join us. It's a lot of fun, and you will have a whole big box fresh with new hand knit warm cozy socks for the new year next year. So anyway, moving along, we have the Honey Cal, which is a knit along that I'm co-hosting with Nina from the This Old Knit podcast, and that kicked off December 1st and is ending March 1st. And we are just knitting the honey pullover by pattern by Amy Miller, and you can either knit the adult version or the child's version, whatever you fancy. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. And yes, double dipping is totally fine in my thread and Nina's thread, and yeah, the more the merrier. So definitely double dip. And finally, we have the Voolenvine Yarns 2017 Shawl Along, which kicked off, it kicked off December 1st, and it's going all the way through March 1st. So the idea behind that is to knit a shawl using either Voolenvine yarns. It must be, in order to qualify, your shawl must be knit out of my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine yarns, or if you don't have my yarn, you may also knit my shawl pattern, the Vildesmeer shawl, which I designed last year. So definitely join in if you would like to partake. Yes. Anyway, okay, so that is it for knit alongs. I'm gonna move along to works in progress. So this week I have a hoe, and this was my Christmas Eve cast on, and I have a sock, so yay, hoe. One hoe for the new year. And this is Cat Sandwich Fibres in her Let's Play Video Games colorway, which was, I have to say, was the perfect Christmas Eve cast on, because I don't know why this just reminds me of Christmas so much. It just, for some reason, it reminds me of winter, snow, and Christmas lights. And I just really am enjoying knitting these because the colorway is just so fun, and I love Cat Sandwich Fibres. If you have a chance to catch one of her updates, definitely check her out because her colorways are just, again, super fun, super pretty, and yeah, she's definitely a very talented hand dyer, so check her out. But I did cast on the second sock, and here it is. I'm almost done, which is exciting. And yeah, I knit the heel, and now I'm on the foot, and I think I have maybe like another 1.5 inches to go before I start decreasing for the toe, but yay, no second sock syndrome here. And then after I'm done with these, I am going to finish up my Mercury socks that I started my second pair of Mercury socks, a free pattern by Kim Drotar. Lovely pattern, one of my favorite sock patterns, but yeah, I still have to finish that one. I did not make any progress on it. But after these are done, I'm gonna finish those and then proceed to cast on my very first pair of socks for 2017. Because while many of you have already cast on and finished your first pair of the new year, I have not even begun. So I'm just trying to wrap up all of last year's socks and then move along to a new pair for this year. So that is one. Another project that I have on the go that I'm trying to finish for Vogue Knitting Live. We'll see how far I get. I have like another day left in order for me to finish and block it. But this is the Trechia hat by Michelle Wong. So it's really just a chock full of cable goodness, like lots and lots of cables, which I am enjoying, but I am going to be totally honest and say that it is a little fiddly, but thankfully, because I'm using Hiya sharps, it's taking a lot of what could be a lot of stress while knitting this off my shoulders, if that makes any sense, because the points are just perfectly sharp, are sharp enough where it's actually getting, so this yarn, the Fiber Company's Road to China, is super luxurious, super soft. Again, words cannot describe how luxurious this yarn is. But it is, I believe, a 2-ply, which is not, is it a 2-ply? See if you untwist it. It's a 3-ply. It's a 3-ply, which is not essentially optimal for cable knitting. When it comes to cable knits, usually you want to opt for a 4-ply to get that definitive texture, and it just lends itself so much better to cables. But you know, this is a 3-ply, it still works, but it is, I will say, a little splitty when it comes to picking up and maneuvering those cable stitches around, and plus the halo. This has, I don't know if you can see this, but there's such a big halo when it comes to this yarn. Again, it's super fluffy and super wonderful, but yeah, it's just making it a little challenging. I will say, not terribly, but a little challenging when it comes to just manipulating the stitches, if that makes any sense. So, but I'm plugging away, I'm making progress, and I believe I have maybe another 3 or 4 rows to go before I get to start decreasing the hat. So I think it's gonna happen. I think I'm gonna have this done before Vogue Knitting Live, and while I mentioned last week that the weather was getting very cold, it went down to about 23 or 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and I apologize, I don't know what that is in Celsius. I don't want to say 32 degrees centigrade, but anyway, unfortunately, I really have to get better at the conversions there. But yeah, it was quite cold, and this week, yesterday, it went up to 50. It was about 50 degrees yesterday, which was like, it was like springtime. It's crazy. So, but I still want to have this done. It's not supposed to be as cold for Vogue Knitting Live, but I still want to have it done, just, you know, so it's ready for when the weather does drop back down again. But anyway, really loving this project. If you love cables, this is definitely the project for you. It's a beautiful pattern and enjoying every moment of it. So with that one caveat, but anyway, highly recommend it. So moving along, the other project that I've been working on is the Find Your Fade shawl, which, if you recall, I was really on the fence last week about what colorway to add next. I was like, a lot of people say that, oh, I'm so casual when it comes to this project, but no, you guys, I was trying to come, I was like a mad woman. I was pulling all my yarn off my shelves and then just standing over them and, you know, manipulating them and putting them in different orders, and it was a process, you guys, and I was losing my mind. But I panic ordered, well, I didn't panic order, but I purchased some filler yarn from Argyle Yarns, which is another Brooklyn yarn shop, but I found out that they sell Hedgehog fibers and actually ship yarn, so I ordered 2 skeins from them, which I'll share with you. One of them I'll share with you in Stash Enhancement, but I purchased a skein of birthday cake to come after. Well, let me just show you. So here's where I am with it. This is the right side. I feel like I'm babbling, and I'm like, well, maybe I should just show you the project so you know what I'm talking about. But this is the Find Your Fade shawl by ANDREA MOWRY, which is a very popular pattern right now. It seems like everyone's knitting on it. And yeah, here you can see I added in Birthday Cake, which is Hedgehog fibers on their skinny singles. And then before that, I had added Hedgehog fibers skinny singles in the Hush colorway, which has been in my stash for a while. And then I started off with Skinny Dipping yarn in the Space Pants colorway. And I really love the way that this is turning out. So again, I'm just finding my fade as I go. I have an idea of where I want it to go, but it could be subject to change at any time. So, you know, and I'm actually opening my mind to not just sticking to single bases or single ply bases. I might add some glitter in there because, you know, glitter makes everything better, right? So, but yeah, having a lot of fun with it. And as Candace from the Pin, Feathers, and Pearls podcast mentioned on her podcast, it went from thong form to, like, you know, as you're knitting on this project, it really looks like you're knitting a thong. But I've surpassed that part of the knitting process on this pattern, and now it's in uterus. It's in uterus shape form right now. I'm at the uterus part of the Find Your Fade. I can only imagine what it'll look like, what images will conjure up when I get to the midpoint of it. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a giant wizard hat. The possibilities are endless, you guys. So that's where I am with that. I really don't know what colorway is going to come next. Choices, I don't know, but that's where I am with that. And then the other project that I've been working on is the crochet granny stripe blanket from the pattern I used is from attic24.com, and I put a little bit of a dent in it this past week, especially while finishing watching Penny Dreadful, which I'll talk about in Blather. But oh my gosh, you guys, I finished watching Penny Dreadful. Love that series so much. But here's where I am. I don't even know if yeah, I don't think I made much progress on it since I last showed it to you, but here's where I am on it. And yeah, it's one of those touch and go projects. Like, I'm not obsessively knitting on it as many other people have been knitting on it, but it's definitely one of those medium projects, or yeah, I guess a medium project, if that makes sense. Just one of those projects that I reach to when I really don't feel like knitting on anything else. So just crocheting, but there's where I am. And yeah, it's super long. It's gonna go over my, it's long enough to fold over our queen size bed. So yeah, it could either end up being that or just a throw to put on the sofa, or just something I keep in my office in case I get chilly. But there's where I am with that. So lots of fun. Highly recommend that project if you are in the market for a new scrap blanket to knit or crochet on. So yeah, and moving along, let me see, show notes. I think that is it. Yeah. Oh, my honey pullover. I have not honestly made much progress on that since I last showed it to you. I put maybe several more rows into it, and I'm at the point where I may decrease. I'm at the point where I should be decreasing for the armholes, but I might add a couple more rows in because my stitch count, I will be honest, my stitch count is slightly off, and just checking in with Nina, she said that it was a little, it seemed like it was a little too soon for her to separate the sleeves, so she as well added some more rows to it. So moving along, I have some stash enhancement. Granted, I've been trying very hard not to purchase any yarn until Vogue Knitting Live, but again, it's my birthday month, so I'm letting myself go on this one. I'm giving myself full permission to be reckless and embrace the wool piggery, or embrace the wool pig. So, which is a term, by the way, that Jenny and Devin from the podcast formerly known as Tiny Paper Foxes, and they're now called Handmade in Woolen. They coined that term wool piggery. So just to give them full on credit, because I know I keep saying it every episode, but they coined the term wool pig. But anyway, as I mentioned, I purchased yarn from Argyle Yarns as filler for my Find Your Fade, and I also purchased a skein. In addition to birthday cake, I purchased a skein of Find Your Fade. I purchased a skein of Fool's Gold for the Find Your Fade shawl. And this colorway is so fun, you guys. I don't know, like, I really don't know if it will make it into the Find Your Fade. I think it will definitely work. It's definitely workable, but it's definitely not gonna come after this colorway though, that's for sure. But it may be included, I haven't decided yet. But then yesterday, as I mentioned, when I met up with Katie from Inside Number 23 at, let me see, at Woolen, Rachel does not make it easy to leave the shop without purchasing anything. And I told her, I'm like, you're not helping me. But we were browsing the shelves, and she got a whole bunch of Invictus yarns in, and I saw this one colorway poking out of the shelves at me, and I had to get it. It's Invictus yarns in her Captain Superwash, I guess, yeah, Captain Superwash base, and I didn't even look at the colorway, but I said, it's very like goth Christmas. And of course the colorway is called Christmas Chaos. And I almost bought 2 skeins, but I was good. I only came away with 1. but I really, really love this colorway for some reason. Totally out of my comfort zone. Maybe not, but it definitely spoke to me. So I purchased a skein of that, and I had originally gone to Woolen with the intention of just coming away with more sock knitting needles, because one can never have too many sock knitting needles. So yeah, I did purchase some more Haya Sharp US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles, and you guys know what these look like. So yay. So that's what I bought at Woolen, and gotta love the bag because it's awesome. Yay. I said yay like a million times in that one sentence. Anyway, so moving along, no huge knitting, no huge sewing progress this week. It's just been a little crazy, but speaking of other crafts than knitting and spinning and sewing, last week I shared with you my new loom that I purchased. It's just a lap loom that I purchased from Amazon, super inexpensive, and I've just been noodling around with it. So let me go get that to show you where I'm at. So here's my lap loom, and again, I haven't really made any progress. I mean, obviously I made some progress on it, but just using some basic, you know, stash worsted weight yarn. This is Knit Picks, and then this is kind of like fun fur almost that I purchased in Cape Cod, but it's really pretty fur. I think, what is it? It's Moonlight Mohair, and again, I purchased this in Cape Cod from an Odd Lot or an Odd Job. What is it? I think it's Odd Lot, but they had a whole bin of this type of yarn. They had fun fur for $2 a pop, and for some reason I really fell in love with this yarn just because of the color and the sparkles, and it's really fluffy. I had no idea what I was gonna make with it, but anyway, again, I was just noodling around with the loom and decided to incorporate it. And I will say I'm not in love with the process. I have not picked this up in, I want to say, like 4 or 5 days yet. But once I'm in the zone, it's like I just keep going and going and going, which is a good sign. But I feel like if I had a Cricut, I know Shack makes like a table loom, like a Cricut, where you don't have to use these wooden sticks and weave in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. And I think the what is it, a heddle loom, double heddle loom? I don't know. My lingo is, when it comes to weaving, is not very good yet. I don't know, but I think it actually does it for you. The you know, the warp, it alternates the warp, so you can move the shuttle in one way and out the other way. So it takes a lot of that work out of it. So I think I might enjoy it more if I had one of those looms, or that type of loom. Anyway, still on the fence about it, but not in love with it. I still prefer knitting and sewing. Knitting and sewing are my core crafts that I'm in love with right now. So, but it's nice just to have like these little side craft things that I can switch on and off between here and there. So yay! I'm gonna move along to Ask Away, which is a thread where you can ask me pretty much anything you'd like regarding the podcast, knitting, sewing, making things, about me personally within reason. I grabbed a question from there called, from Foxy Knits on Ravelry, and she asks, I would love to hear about your favorite sock patterns, your top 5. I prefer shorter socks or ankle socks and would love some directions towards some great patterns. Okay, so if you follow the podcast, you know I primarily knit vanilla socks. I don't go too crazy with the patterns because I am very susceptible to second sock syndrome. So, but I do have a handful of patterns that I have knit in the past, or sock patterned or textured sock patterns that I have knit in the past that are, I would consider my favorites and go-tos. So I will share those with you, but if you are curious, I do have a pattern that I published. It's by no means original at all. It's just my go-to, or my original go-to sock recipe. It's just cuff down, heel flap, turned heel, and then you know, knit to the toe and then graft the toe. So no frills, vanilla sock pattern that I started out knitting, and I like to alternate in between Fish Lips Kiss heel socks. So that's available to download. It's a totally free pattern. It's gotten great reviews, so if you are new to sock knitting or like to learn to knit socks, I feel like it's definitely a beginner-friendly pattern. I do my best to spell out each step on how to knit socks, so definitely check it out. And yeah, again, it's free, so no investment. So except for time. Anyway, but yes, and as of late, I have been a huge fan of the Fish Lips Kiss heel sock, only because it's a very, like, I have it memorized. It's a super quick heel to knit, and it fits my heel like a glove. I love that heel so much. So lately I've just been sticking to the Fish Lips Kiss heel sock. As far as patterned socks go, or textured knit socks, I've knit the RIVERCAT socks by Brenda Patipa, which I believe I've knit 2 or 3 pairs of those, and they're, you know, a great pattern. It might be intuitive. I think you get, like, after maybe 2 repeats of the pattern, you can read your stitches and know where you are. So I will say it is borderline intuitive. So yeah, it's easily memorizable. So definitely check out the RIVERCAT socks. If you're into cabling, I've knit 2 pair of the FLANNERY socks by Spilly Jane, who's one of my favorite designers. It's just a really lovely cabled textured pattern if you like seed stitch. The Pebble socks by Mina Phillip, again, I mentioned this last week. These are very simple socks. They have a simple texture pattern to them, very intuitive, and a nice alternative to plain vanilla socks. If you want to add a little excitement to your sock knitting, definitely check out the Pebble socks, because it is easy to memorize. And so far I've only knit 1 pair, but I could definitely see myself knitting more pair of those, because it's just such a great pattern. Mina is very good when it comes to intuitive patterns and, you know, beginner-friendly patterns. So definitely check out her sock collections, because they're all meant to be like alternative vanilla sock patterns, if that makes any sense. So check that out. And then, of course, I would be remiss not to mention the MERCURY socks by Kim Drotar. I'm on my 2nd pair that as I mentioned earlier, I'm knitting my 2nd pair of MERCURY socks, and it's a beautiful lace pattern, very easy to memorize, very intuitive, and very, like, if you are new to lace, definitely check it out, because it's definitely a nice way to dip your toes excuse me, into lace knitting, I would say. And finally, last but not least, I had to check my projects page, and it's been a while since I knit these, but I remember being such a really lovely pattern. Again, another very intuitive pattern, but the Parade socks by Judy Kaethker. Kaethker? I believe that's how you say it. I could be wrong, I'm sorry. But definitely check out those, because those are very, again, simple, easy textured sock pattern to knit. And Foxy Knits, I know that you had mentioned that you prefer short cuffed socks. These you can just knit however long you want the sock leg to be. So you can make them as long as you want or as short as you want, totally up to you. But if you are looking for specifically like short cuffed patterns, definitely check out the Jelly Roll socks. Those are really fun. I believe they use 2 colorways, and yeah, they're just a super fun I have yet to knit them, but I want to knit them so badly because they look a lot of fun. But definitely check them out. Okay, so Friday, tomorrow, January 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be having a shop update, so I hope you can make it. And yeah, here's a preview of what will be in store for tomorrow. But just FYI, I always post, like, as I dye my colorways during the week, I keep a running list on the website voolenvineyarns.com in the blog section. I always post a running list of the colorways that will be available again as I dye them, so be sure to check that out during the week, because I do get a lot of questions on Instagram. Will you have this colorway? Will you have that colorway? Definitely keep an eye on that thread so you know what will be in stock, because I don't always see everybody's questions on Instagram. So if you are curious about what colorways will be in stock, definitely check out the blog during the week where you can find all that information. So yes, but this week I will have some more I Am No Bird, and here it is on my Cocoon base, which is a new Aran weight yarn. Let me see. It's my new Aran weight yarn, which is, it's 100% superwash blue face luster, 181 yards, 100 grams, and it is super squishy and super cozy. I also have it on Footsie. Go. I will have, many of you have been requesting this colorway for quite some time, and I finally dyed it up again. This is Dead Calm, which is this really lovely, like, deep aquamarine navy blue, I want to say. Super pretty. I almost want to knit a shawl out of this. This is my blitzed base, which has gold stellina in it. And yeah, so I don't know, so many options, you guys. And because Valentine's Day is coming up, I'm starting to roll out some Valentine's Day esque colorways, and that I feel like should include Pandora. So here it is. Again, these will be dyed across several bases, but here it is on Cocoon, and here it is on my blitzed base. I'll also have it on Footsie and Wilderness, Black Pearl, oops, sorry, Black Pearl. And I will also have some I dyed up a one-of-a-kind, or I'm sorry, this is actually a misfit of Fig Bash. So this one did not turn out as I would have liked it to be, but I ordered some more Nouveau singles, which was my single ply merino, superwash merino, superwash merino blend. So, but yeah, I'm starting to introduce that back into the mix. So, but yeah, this was the first time that I dyed it on this base for a while, and it did not happen on the first time. But anyway, you live and you learn, right? So that will be available. And then I also dyed up some, let me see, some Poe. So that'll be available on Nouveau. And then I think that is it. So, oh, here's more Black Pearl on my Wilderness base, which is a 2055-25 kid mohair superwash merino and nylon blend. It has a really lovely halo, super strong and cozy. It could be socks, it could be a shawl, it could be a sweater. So really, really beautiful. That is it for shop update. I'm going to be dyeing some more today and tomorrow, so there will definitely be some more Outlander tomorrow. So look out for that. And I haven't decided. We'll see if I have any more time to dye up anything else, but there will definitely be some Outlander in there tomorrow as well. So yay, hope you can make it. It is again January 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you curious about international friendly shop updates, I will be having another update January 30th, which is a Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, I'm mixing up the international shop updates because I know some people can't make the weekends and for whatever reason, so just trying to mix things up a little bit. Yeah, so without further ado, I'm gonna move along to Blather, where I talk about what's been going on in my life. But yeah, I want to say not too much, unfortunately. You know, just working my patootie off, tying yarn all week. And let me see what else. Yeah, as I mentioned, I finished watching Penny Dreadful on Netflix, which I wish there were more seasons, but they only had 3, and I will say the ending was very, very sad. But it made sense, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, highly recommend it. It's not for everyone if you are sensitive to blood, gore, monsters, horror, and just overall gruesomeness. But I, love that stuff. I love the costumes. I just love that whole genre, that whole scene and everything. So do check it out if you are into that. But I have recently started watching Maria from the Subway Knits. I'm sorry, she used to be Subway Knits, but now she's Cables and Crew Necks. I believe she just uploaded a new episode, so yay! But she had recommended Versailles, and yeah, I am currently in the midst of binge watching that. Again, the costumes are absolutely beautiful. And yeah, highly recommend it. And I have to say, I really love the theme song, the opening credits. I cannot get tired of watching that. Just the music itself just is really lovely. Anyway, so that's what I've been binge watching lately. And other than that, these past few weekends, Dennis and I have just been homebodies. Excuse me. We've been total homebodies. I will be totally honest, I did not leave the house very often just because I was so happy and content sitting at home and knitting, and Dennis has been hunkering down studying for an exam that he's going to be taking, so yeah, there really has been no reason other than to forage for food to leave the house. Which we were totally fine with, again, because it got really cold out and it snowed. We got our first full-on snowfall with snow that actually stuck. But yeah, this weekend is Vogue Knitting Live. I anticipate lots of fun getting together and just an overall good time. And again, if you see me or Laura walking around the marketplace, do say hello. Unfortunately, I will have no swag. I apologize. I just did not have enough time to order buttons or make mini skeins or anything. I'm so sorry. But yes, I would just really enjoy getting to meet you guys in person. So yes, do say hello. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I could use some tea right now. I did not make tea for recording. So, which reminds me, I did place a massive David's tea order. Again, it was my birthday. They were having a semi-annual sale, and I believe they had pumpkin cheesecake on sale for like $3 for a 2-ounce bag of it. So of course I had to stock up and just order more of that. So I have more tea coming in the mail and cannot wait for that to get here. But in the meantime, I still have some that I have to work through. So yeah, I might just, after I'm done recording, just make some tea, edit this episode, and get back to work. Tonight I'm meeting up with some friends for dinner, some knitting friends, so that'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, so anyway, I think I'm gonna end it there, otherwise I'm gonna keep rambling on. So that said, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.